homesteading, and I'm here in the garden. So I thought I would pick some tomatillos with you. Let's see if I can do this. There's the tomatillos. Um, Maybe it's better here. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know if it's orientated correctly or what's going on. I had it set up over here where it was working. Okay, that's pretty good. I like that. So I have, now it's saying orientation is locked, but my tripod will not allow that orientation. So, let's do a garden tour instead of picking. Is that better? I think that's, there we go. There we go. Okay, well, hello. So, let's do a garden tour. Here are the tomatillos that I'm going to pick. Lots of them, and we've had some very light freezes. But these tomatillos have remained uncovered and they seem okay. So it's just piled on the ground and on the bush. So I just squeeze, and if there's one in there, I grab it. And something else that's going to be happening here in the garden is it's time to plant all of this new garlic. The garlic did great last year, and so I'm hoping it will do the same this year. So happy that I went ahead and planted these snap peas in the fall, and they're starting to set pea pods, and they just have the prettiest blooms. So those are extending the season here, zone 6B in the northeastern Arizona high desert. So we had an extremely dry growing year. No snowpack, hardly any rainfall, but then we did bounce back with a 1-inch rain event and a few smaller rain events. So this is the garden. And you see these glad rags laying around because these were the bolts of fabric that we used to cover my tomatoes. And so the last few nights have been around 40, and I haven't had to cover. So these Amish paste tomatoes loaded up pretty good. Even this squash is not completely wilted. But underneath there's some really nice Swiss chard to pick. Some nice big leaves. Lots of Amish pastes. So this is how I grow in the northern Arizona high desert. I dig furrows or small depressions, and that way the water can pool, and then load it up with lots of rabbit or sheep mulch, and sheep mulch both. So here's the next row of tomatoes. These are the gardener's delights. And look, even though the temperatures got down to, I don't know, high 30s, these basils planted underneath did not wilt. these close together rows with the deep mulch and lots of foliage and undergrowth seem to keep everything going for longer. The zinnias are still in full bloom. I can't believe it. There's zinnias in between here. But these tomatoes are up to my shoulders. And I'm just so glad that the season is allowing us to grow them past our normal first frost. Our first frost was October 15th or 16th. The average is the 15th. And I think we got one extra day. But even these peppers. Oh, thank you, Barbara. I appreciate that. This area in Apache County, Arizona, is a little notoriously hard to garden. Some people say it can't be done. We live here off-grid. We haul the water. There's a water dispensary in town. Well, there's two bulk water dispensaries. So we have to bring in our IBC totes, fill them up, haul them back over 12 miles of dirt roads. And then I use that for the garden and for the livestock and for the humans. The whole farm is run off of that. There's the garden tote. So it's up on top of a broken one, and that provides gravity so that the hoses flow pretty good. So we've been living off-grid here for 3.5 years now. So it takes about that much time for permaculture to really take off, in my opinion. The soil, you can see how it's loaded up. This is where the watermelons were. And we got 5 small watermelons, but underneath here, you can see the soil. It's fluffy, it's cool, it's darker than the plain native soil, undeveloped. That's really hard and compact. It's like adobe. It does turn soft when it's wet, but the garden soil has really come a long way. So here's the next row of tomatoes. Basil underneath. Ripening Amish paste tomatoes. And then so many Cherokee purples. Look at all these. So I can't believe my good fortune to still have these ripening on the vine this time of year up here. And this is some of the native shrubbery. It's a saltbush, and that is a very alkaline, soil-friendly, drought-tolerant animal fodder that our sheep like to eat. There's one of my rams right there. That's Aristocrat. So every day I give him some saltbush, and the ewes and lambs go out for grazing. If you subscribe to my channel, you'll see I have a lot of sheep content. Now over here, the cold weather has wilted these pumpkins, but standing up tall are the broccolis. This big one's like 18 inches maybe. And I thought those were dead when I first planted them. They didn't look like they survived right after germination. Here's fava beans. These keep going in bloom, but I have pests that come and I guess nibble on the budding beans. And down under here, there's some really nice heads of lettuce. Sorry about the lighting. And I could never grow lettuce in California, in Southern California, but it loves it here. Yeah, see what the pests have done. And I am mostly observing. Here's some romaine lettuce ready to pick and another broccoli. But I'm sitting back and observing and allowing nature to take its course in this garden. I'm not using any pesticide sprays. I'm not using any store-bought fertilizer at all. It's all just animal litter. So on this path, this is where it's kind of loaded up, and so that's that. And I still haven't hit the soil line yet. And this is kind of quietly breaking down while inside the furrow where I actually direct the water at the root zone. That's quite dark and quite wet. And then anyways, when it's time to refresh these furrows, then I have plenty to top dress mulch again. Right here on the side can just be pulled over. And then I lay down the brand new raw animal litter on the pathway. So I wonder if any of you are considering trying to live off grid or start homesteading. I'd love to hear what you think about my efforts. Here's the next row. The parsley. This is blue ribbon parsley. I got first prize at the county fair, and it is very cold tolerant so far. And on the end, more of this pretty pink Swiss chard. This is ready to harvest again. It does cut and come again, so I just would cut pretty much everything but this tiny little center, and it just grows back over and over again. Here's what happens if you let your lettuce bolt. If you let it bloom, the lettuce turns very bitter at that point. But it does make flowers, and then each flower has countless seeds. So this is like millions of seeds in the making. And I'm fine if those just start to go wild and spread. That's what's going on with the fennel. Here's the original fennel. And this seems to have perennialized. It came back after being buried in snow for months, or just, a freezer box. Didn't get much snow, but we sure got cold temps down to -2 last winter. Now these fennels are capped with lots of seeds and ready to share the wealth. All the fennel you see in the next row, those are volunteers from those plants. And they're ready to share their wealth as well. And I like that because they do have a predatory insect attractant, and they also seem to kind of get rid of the negatives, the bad. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this plant is probably infected with a disease. So, but underneath, gorgeous heads of lettuce. And if I could get my tripod to hold the phone in the right orientation, I was hoping to live stream harvesting. Now these ones are about ready to bolt. I need to pick those right away. And my garden helper is here. Hi, Meowser. Come on. Peter Meowser. You want to say hi, kitty? Yes, she is. She's such a good, nice kitty. Anyways, see how these have grown up on a stalk. So I'm going to be terminating that stalk and we'll see if they come again. And then over here, these I checked earlier. They were too small. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to pull this. It's not too small anymore. Woo-hoo. Very nice. I think that is a white radish, not a turnip, but I could be wrong. And, oh yeah, these are all ready. Ooh, so exciting. These were barely there when I harvested their neighbors, but they've grown out pretty well by now. And I was wondering what I'd be making for dinner, and now I know. I love to do root vegetables with a rabbit. So I do the roots and chop up the greens, pop that into the Instapot, throw in a frozen rabbit, 20 minutes later, and it's really great having some of these aromatics growing right here in the garden. Like I showed you the parsley. And this parsley, I've been using it kind of like celery, so it's like super thick and crispy. And the aroma. You like that? You like the parsley? Everybody likes the parsley. Yours? You like it? Someone else here likes it. Hello, aristocrat. There you go, sweet boy. That seems to be his favorite treat so far. Besides head scritches. Yes, aristocrat. Good boy. Yep. So that is most of the garden tour. Oh, I was telling you about the herbs that go with the radishes and the rabbit. So back over here. Anyways, here is some rosemary. And I'm hoping this rosemary will perennialize. Its first year seems to have established pretty well. Man, rosemary tastes great with some fresh lamb too. You know, these peppers got covered, and it looks like we're gonna have more freezing temps soon. Tuesday night maybe. So maybe trying to let these young ones grow out before I terminate that. The frost will terminate it, but before I give up on covering it. And then there's 2 more of those plants. And then right here, I just have a good feeling about this thyme plant. I really think this is going to perennialize nicely. First year, it's making some sweet little flowers. And like I said, I really believe having all this thick, weedy undergrowth is insulating the pepper plants, because I've never had them survive, 38, 40 degrees and have pepper plants survive the night. Here are the hot pepper plants, scorpions. Looks like the buds got frozen off. But this plant has fresh flower beds. Maybe it'll carry on. Look at the show-stopping lavender. Woo-wee! Oh, it smells so good. I have high hopes that this will perennialize too. That is my favorite scent, lavender. Celery's rocking with the fall temperatures, and the herbs are a little stronger than what you're used to, and so just a few sprigs is like whole long grocery store stocks worth of celery flavor. Here's some sorrel, and this came back after dying back from the early summer heat, and it sent up some flower stalks. So I'm hoping that's gonna naturalize right here. And this sorrel has like a super zingy lemon zest. Oh yeah. Ooh. That's like a really strong lemon zest. Lemongrass kind of flavor. That's a nice vitamin C kind of zing for a winter salad. And then over here, there's a culinary garden sage. And I feel very confident that that will come back after the ice cold winter. We have a very cold, long winter. And of course, volunteer alfalfa, volunteer kitty cat. This borage hit the dust, but the kale looks really good. Now this whole bed is probably where I'm going to plant all that garlic, or most of it. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth row I'm going to leave alfalfa, but that's 3 good rows for the garlic. Tomatillos, mint. Here's the tomatillos I started you with, but garlic. And we got almost twice as much garlic this year as we got last year to plant. Just look again at those snap peas. Yeah, I started growing snap peas back in California in, I want to say, 2020. And it was just like 12 seeds. And they grew like this, and I was just blown away. And they were so prolific. Just fistfuls of these beautiful snap peas. And the flowers are so gorgeous. I grew it in my front yard in suburbia. I used to go knock on the neighbor's door and give her bags, like 1-pound bags, along with eggs. Oh, and there's cilantro growing down there. And I think there's a broccoli here. Yep. And another borage. Yeah. Oh, and these red raspberries. And we've gotten almost a dozen ripe ones. There we go. Yes. And this is my first success with berries here on the property. I've planted them multiple times, but this is the first time they've actually come to fruition. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. So my goal is to propagate. That one's not quite done. Oh, that made my mouth really water. So there's this variety on this side and another variety on this side. And my goal is to propagate them all down the line, just using cuttings. Yeah, using cuttings so as to make this trellis just 100% fruit bearing, and I've got it orientated so that our dominant west wind, it will block that. So that'll be great. Really looking forward to seeing how that comes about. But yeah, every pretty little flower is going to be a pea pod. Now, all of this grass is volunteers from the animal litter, dropping their, nibbling their hay, and then trampling it and soiling it. So then I've got different warm and cool season grasses, and those pump carbon into the soil in the form of carbohydrates, sugars, and then they make all this biomass, and I just grab my sickle and chop and drop that, and it just adds to the life in the soil. So this is the first year I've cultivated this section of this garden. It used to be a horse corral, so it got very compacted, and it was not amended with any organic material. It was just kind of scraped bare. But look how fertile it is. Oh, I couldn't be happier. All right, let's walk around and check out the very back of the garden. This is kind of neglected over here. I do have some full-size beans and tomatillos that I need to take care of and harvest. I saw some beans over here yesterday. I don't remember where. Oh, here's some. And these plants don't like cold weather, so they're not long for this world. And they're a little thinly dispersed, so they haven't been getting as much TLC for covering at night. This one dropped a lot, but I bet some of those are good, and definitely some are firm and ready to pick. Look how hardy the marigolds are. Oh, this right here is a cucumber, and even though the vine is dead, I can come and harvest these little micro cukes. Those are nice little salad cucumbers. And see where the undergrowth is not as lush? The zinnias are all frostbitten. The marigolds seem unfazed though. The vine is mostly dead, but there's one tiny little watermelon. And this, I think this was, the straight neck squash. It kind of got frostbit a little bit. It has some little baby squash on it. Little salad squash, or maybe I'll pickle them. And then this melon made some hybridized melons. I think it crossbred with the Armenian cucumber last year. So it has oddball melons that are immature. I'll see. Maybe they are like the Armenians and have a cucumber flavor. And then there's the Zypits with the tomatillos. And those are looking a little rough. But this one with the marigolds, wowzers. And I also did get a blue ribbon for these marigolds at the county fair. But these things look rough, but there's going to be salvageable ones. It's been kind of a crazy year, you know. I have left this fallow since I harvested onions. There's some onions that got left behind. Here's the granddaddy of all the tomatillos. It's like the kraken of the tomatillo family. And I need to get kraken. I've got a lot to pick. But aside from that, I also have a lot of vegetables I've already picked that I need to process. Just coming back for another look at these lovely zinnias waving in the breeze. So thanks so much for joining me here in the garden at 1MillionPumpkins Ranch, where we always show you public displays of homesteading. Cheers and blessings. How do I end this thing? I honestly don't know. There. Okay, bye-bye.